So here we got some louvres on a bonnet of an old Jaguar. Now I've made these by pressing them in a pressing tool that I made, and these will require external fitting. They need to be trimmed down yet, but this is just an example of how I do what I do with pressing these particular louvres into a piece of flat sheet metal, and then we'll be inserting them into the bonnet and having them rivet onto the top, because that's what the customer wanted. So it'd be pretty cool if you could shape them all by hand without sort of any jigs or anything like that. But in this particular case, you want to make them as uniform as possible. And the best way to do that is to make a jig. And so the quickest way I thought in this case was to do it, was to make a steel frame. This is made out of about 8mm, 10mm plate with the louver shape cut out into it, because that's the size that we wanted. Okay, so then with the centerpiece as well, because I want to put the shape into it, it's got a chamfer put onto it, which gives it a nice shape to it. So here's what we're going to end up with, what we're looking at once we press it. So we start out with a bit of flat sheet, and then we put it in the press. Now, with the pressing tool, I've shaped it so it's got shape in the contours to the bonnet already. So I've used it. It's good when you've got a press, you can be able to do that sort of thing, be out to push so much pressure. So what I've done here with the tape, that is to give me a good alignment when I'm setting up to do the press. When I'm pressing into something, rather than pushing it into metal, I've put a piece of 1-inch rubber underneath, which gives me an absorbent thing, so that once the louver pushes into it, it doesn't actually push metal to metal. It's got something softer underneath, so as it absorbs it in the shape into the rubber. So if I put that in, all right, so then we take the tool out. I've marked on the ends, I've cut my 60mm wide pieces that I need in this particular case. If I have a slight curve in it, if I put an ever so slight curve in it, that allows the front of the blade to be absorbed into that. Now, at the end of each piece of masking tape is where I want to have my line-up marks. And then you add your louver tool onto the top and make sure that it's within 0.5 millimetre of where it's supposed to be, because once you push it, you start pressing it, it actually does go into where it's supposed to fit. So I'll slide that into the middle of my press. And here I've got also, this is actually, it's like that plastic wood that they've got, and what it does, it actually conforms a little bit of shape, and the same. I don't really want to have metal to metal pushing against this, because the last thing you want to do is put steel against steel and end up with an imperfection that you don't really want. There'll be a slight little mark in the end of it, but that'll just dress out with a hammer, and by the time we trim this off anyway, you'll hardly see it. And then we put some rivets around the outside, and that'll be sweet as. So that's what it's going to hopefully look like when it's finished. All right, so now I'll press this in a few different ways. So I turn the press on, slide that in. And the first bit, I'll lift it up. I'll bring it out, it's already started to press, and I'll move it to the back edge of where the last one finished. Same again, push it down. So it's not making any really nasty noises or anything like that, because there's no metal to metal. So put that way. The reason I'm doing it crossways is because I don't really want it to bend the shape out of the steel. I just want to keep the conforming of the contour so as it continues to stay for each louvre that I make. Now here I'm going to turn it around sideways to finish this last bit off. That's it. And we'll do the same with the other end. Bring all the way out. And now I want to put it right in the middle so that it just pushes the whole pressing tool all the way into the louver and kind of finishes off. So I keep it central to where it should sit in amongst my masking tape lines, and then I'll give it one last press. And that's about it. So there, as you can see, it's just got a couple of slight marks that I can just dress out with a plenishing hammer, and it's come out beautifully, and it hasn't left any marks anywhere from any steel hitting or anywhere like that. There's just a bit of rubber on the back which it's just leaned against, but it's kept it nice and straight, and so I can tidy that up, trim it around, dress that down there, and that'll be a good fit for the bonnet. All right, that's cool. Thanks.